You can never get divorced again, man. That was hard for me. For you to get divorced.
You definitely said that on mic, off mic, and multiple times.
Because I'm Sam.
Yeah.
I also had a hard year.
Ow.
Oh,
What the fuck?
my thumb.
What did you
You
do?
hurt my nail. I
How?
jammed it.
Why?
Not on purpose.
What a weird first step towards suicide.
You gotta stop, man. We don't even have a cold open.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. I say we do.
Oh no.
My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
Hey, what's what's Gucci, baby?
Hell yeah, you fucking
That's like cool and chill.
yeah. To
This
stutter
is
and
like
stumble your way through
my
an
new
intro.
persona is like a cool, chill guy who maybe sometimes repeats himself.
And, yeah, also has low self-esteem.
Yeah, if that's fine with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I'm like fucking whatever.
Hey,
unless-
how's it? You know, it's okay. No, you're busy.
Yeah, me cool, but
I'll be here. No, it's not because I don't have other stuff. You know, don't worry about it. It's fine.
I'm totally chill unless that's not what you want me to be.
Yeah, and then I'll be me.
yeah. Self-conscious cool guy.
The new character I'm debuting this episode, self-conscious cool guy.
What's up, ladies? Or like however you identify yourself.
A totally new character I'm debuting.
I'm sorry, do you think you're as a cool guy?
Like, in a way where I'm sort of, it's fine. We don't have to talk about
No,
it.
yeah, you're right. No, that is you.
But also like, hey, what's up?
unless you
No, sorry. No, you go about your day. It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. What's up, ladies?
Pretend
Or-
I'm not here.
or however you describe yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, you're veering into weird, like cool.
Because fucking kids these days.
Yikes. Jesus.
Yeah.
So you're debuting your version of Drunk Uncle?
I mean, the outfit and the drink. Yeah.
Truly.
Look, you guys get it. These two characters shouldn't be in a room together.
Yeah. Is this good?
It's just problematic and too ashamed to defend
And
himself.
like low energy
Yeah.
and like
this is just when like the new boyfriend and the drunk uncle.
I like
on
how we were
Christmas-
like, what if we will both debut a new character and we won't run it by each other?
yeah, this was us debuting characters. Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
Unless that's not cool.
Yeah,
In which case I'll totally change everything about myself.
yeah, because this is a safe space.
Yeah, these characters, we got to put a stop to these guys. I don't know. It's not good, though. It's not good.
Let's go to an ad.
Yeah, right away. Take us out.
It's Vive Revolution.
I've given you too much cream.
You creamed me fucking hard.
Easy.
I might not be able to walk.
Whipped cream flavored vodka
If that's what you want to call
in
it.
orange juice. Tastes like a creamsicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You dipped it and fucking whipped it.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
It's like a classic Dr. DC episode.
Yeah, if anything, like, yeah, this is like a real throwback to when the show was really good.
I guess. I don't know.
No, it's actually not like that.
Somebody tell us, when was the show really good?
Yeah, how could we make Dr. DC great again? When exactly are we trying to make it like?
Because like it wasn't the beginning. Like
No, and it almost certainly wasn't the middle or now.
but this is the problem. When was it good?
Listen,
Was it when we were trying really
3
hard?
Canadian Podcast Awards.
Would say that it was when we tried the least.
Huh. Okay, so no characters then.
Or unless this is like a Meryl Streep situation where it's like we were given awards for like because we should have gotten them
we
earlier.
really should have given them to them earlier.
Yeah. This is the Leonardo DiCaprio of podcasts.
Yeah, The Revenant's not his best, but like we owe you.
Yeah. The new episodes of Dr. DC are not really what they used to be, but we should have acknowledged it in the time.
Yeah, that's true. So as far as the show goes,
Revolution?
Oh no, did you finish the intro already?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I knew that.
I'm pretty sure.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do it one more time for good measure.
I'm like 99% sure I did.
Well, but just on the off chance.
You do it unprompted.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC Comics, fielding questions from listeners like you.
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, pretty close from the guy who, after 7 years, still has to read it verbatim. I'm not going to take fucking notes from you.
You want to step up to the big leagues.
Yeah, no, here's my new character, indignant actor.
Yeah, new character.
Another new character. I'm debuting on the show.
Oh, God, if that's what he is now, what was he before?
Yeah.
We're talking about fucking revolutions, baby.
Revolutionaries, rebels.
Yeah, fucking people fighting against the system, man.
Yeah, good and bad, because there's also like coups and dictators and things like that.
The HMS bounties, if you will.
Oh, a mutiny.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I'm well read. Wish I was well read.
Easy.
Is that what you say to your wife after you have sex? You were just red.
No. No, what I say after sex is thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I know how good I've got it.
Yeah. Not how she got it.
I just thank you.
You've done a service.
Merci.
Yeah. Continue on your day.
Dankeschön.
Yeah. Vive Révolution.
Yeah, baby. This is another classic, what's becoming classic Richard theme pick, which is something like weirdly serious. Like at this point of the podcast, you're like, don't you know what? I'm not going to make the theme like farts. I'm going to make it like something intense.
This is what happens when you finally let me.
Come on.
I've been begging, scratching at the fucking back door to get some of my ideas out.
Fine. You can come in the back door.
Oh, thank you. Can I cream?
Wait, this isn't the Patreon, right? Is this a good episode?
Whenever you ask that question, the answer is either vehemently yes or no, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Time will tell. History will be my judge.
No, it's the kids who are wrong. Did you see those TikToks where it was like French people rating French foods?
Oh, like real French foods or like our versions of French foods?
No, like actual French foods.
Oh, no.
Oh, I think I sent it to you. But
it's just French people rating them?
Yeah. And they just go, like, they just start the, like, what a bunch of them is like cheese. And they just go, like, camembert. And they goes, like, oui, camembert. And they go, camembert, gorgonzola. And they go, camembert.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you ask a French person to pick between a French cheese and an Italian cheese.
Yeah. But
of course, they're going to pick a French one.
Yeah. Comte fucking killed the one of them.
Comte's great.
Fucking love that cheese.
I told you I used to live there. I lived in the Franche-Comté.
Oh, fuck. Goddamn.
Yeah.
Chaque cheese.
Let's
get into the questions.
Sure. Donnez-moi les questions.
Si, c'est moi.
Just slight, vaguely Spanish.
Ole.
Nice.
All right. First questions come from Threads.
Threads.
Hey,
if you're just tuning in for the first time, I've always nailed that. It's always been good.
Whatever the amount,
and it's winning you over, and I can tell.
Whatever the amount is, it makes me uncomfortable, and I don't know why. Oh yeah, it's like too many. I think
it's 8.
It's like
it's 2 bars worth of
It should be like
Or
threads.
it's one, but they're eighth notes.
Like it should be the threads.
No.
But you keep going, and that's what makes my skin crawl because it's just like
threads.
Yeah, but that, oh god, just do the threads. But you don't. You cut it early, and it makes me uncomfortable.
I think the real theme of this episode is pulling back the curtain.
I have a couple creepsicles in me. I got some thoughts for you.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And another thing about you fucking this woke bind.
Oh no. It's not
The
a
uncle's
character.
back.
It's not a character anymore.
First question comes from Finger Stripes 13.
No.
Poor Stripesy.
I ain't hearing those finger stripes.
Was it 2 fingers or 13
Easy.
fingers? Jesus.
I mean, there was that era. This is what he's named for. Is where Nightwing's costume, the band of blue that goes down his arm, went down and like only onto these fingers. Which, like, come on,
fuck yeah.
I think we all know what that means.
I mean, I think that's a pretty big jump to be like, that must mean he's fingering with his outfit on?
It's Dick Grayson.
Yeah,
of course, that's what that means.
He's got fingers, Grayson.
There's Matches Malone and Fingers Grayson. That's his crime persona.
Still uses the same last name.
Just puts on the same Matches Malone mustache.
Me? Nah, I don't know no Dick.
What me? No, it's me. Fingers Grayson.
Yeah, Dick, I ain't no private eye. This is Fingers.
Yeah. Hey, Dick's a little intense for me.
Yeah.
I'm Fingers Grayson.
I'm first date Grayson.
Yeah, me, Fingers, third base Grayson.
Fingers is second base, maybe.
Oh, I don't know the bases.
Clearly. Man who has a child.
Hey, yeah. It was...
Fingers Stripes 13. Glad you defended yourself so well there. Yeah, you fair.
We're like 15 minutes into the worst episode we've ever done.
19.
Okay.
Whatever happened to predictability?
Saturday night.
Oh, with different songs.
Oh. I went to Hot Patootie.
I was doing Full House.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? Whatever.
This really, truly, I just gotta say,
yeah.
this truly is the final episode of Epuary. It's absolutely an episode.
It sure is. If you were like, hey, what's this podcast like? This is an episode.
I mean, it's an episode.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's what it's like, but
yeah.
it's definitely an episode of it.
Whatever happened to John Kent's boyfriend, Jay Nakamura? You know what the problem is? Is because I've been listening to the new Blank Check episode.
Just say Nakamura.
So I keep thinking Nakatomi.
Yeah.
Nakamura. Isn't he a rebel, freedom fighter, whistleblower type? I feel off John Kent Superman stuff and don't see anyone talking about this relationship anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Jay Nakamura is still around. So yeah, John Kent is dating Jay Nakamura. Jay is from a country called Gamora that was run by this like despotic dictator called Henry Bendix, who's this sort of like science villain from like Wildstorm, from stuff like that. And yeah, Jay is a meta. Jay has sort of like phasey kind of powers, but Jay is part of a group called The Truth that are like a sort of guerrilla underground like journalist. They're not maybe journalist is maybe not quite the right, but they're about like getting like
anonymous kind of thing,
more like anonymous.
Yeah.
But like what's interesting in that run is that John convinces Lois to like, you know, like you as part of this other kind of media institution can actually like help them, you know, either you can lend credibility or you can help them in exposing the bad things that are happening on Gamora and stuff like that. And so yeah, Jay's part of The Truth, which is this sort of like kind of anonymous, but kind of like maybe slightly more journalistic.
Kind of like what
they're like a guerrilla publication kind of thing online. That's
like what's her name was doing on the
like,
Flash later seasons.
Yeah, sort of that idea. But Jay is still around. I mean, yeah, I guess we haven't really seen him in recent issues, but it hasn't been that long since we've seen him. It's not like he's been like disappeared for 3 years or something. But yeah, we haven't really had a ton of focus on him, but that's because even like John Kent's book, John's been on like alternate Earths and stuff.
Oh, sure. Bad for your relationship.
I mean, we mentioned Jay a bunch in those. Like he was on the Injustice Earth for a while, and so John hasn't been like interacting with Jay that much. But yeah, like that's the type of rebel, kind of like an information sort of rebel. Not like military intelligence, but like boots on the ground. What's the real story? What's actually happening? Those kind of things. Yeah, sort of guerrilla journalism kind of thing.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, which is a kind of cool idea, especially in the context of John's mom being Lois.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot of really...
Oh, yeah, he's going after his, like his mom.
There's, like, a really interesting kind of relationship there. I like it. I think it's really cool.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Next question from JVideo13. Wow, 2 fucking 13s back to back. Weird.
Yeah. 26. It took me that entire time.
Do you feel good about that?
No. Obviously not. Really shows that I have a theater degree.
And yet you've been responsible for finances for a lot of organizations.
Yeah, but the computer does half of it.
Half?
Well, how much is 2/3?
Jesus Christ.
How much is 2/3?
You mean the amount that you just said? Is the original Rebel, the Haunted Tank, have the same views he did when he was a Confederate general? Or has he been able to change his ways?
The Haunted Tank, I think we probably talked about like
we've definitely talked about
forever ago.
Yeah. That's like a fucking like year one.
But the idea of the Haunted Tank was so in I think it's World War II or something like that. Jeb Stuart, who is a like quote Northerner, but like
with a name like that,
it's
gotta be Confederate.
It's gotta be. Well, no. But he's not. But he in the war. His tank is haunted by the ghost of his like great grandfather, who was a Confederate general in the Civil War, or something like that. And so Jeb Stuart, with this Confederate grandfather or great grandfather, he flies a Confederate flag on his tank, and he's the only one that can see the ghost. But the Haunted Tank goes on all these missions. It showed up in issues of like GI Combat and stuff like that. It was sort of like a genre-y take on a war thing. But yeah, the idea was that Jeb himself was more like liberal or more like had a more northern sensibility or whatever. And that the general was like, ugh, my grandson, oh my God. But you've got guts on the battlefield, and I respect that. Like,
sure.
Like, it was like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It's like their relationship.
I don't like who you love, but I appreciate you. We got the same taste.
I love the way you take a life.
Yeah. Sure.
Years later, I think Jeb himself became the spirit in the tank.
Oh, okay.
And then like was guiding his like granddaughter or something, his niece or something like that. But yeah, but the initial thing was that this Confederate general haunted this tank. I don't know that they ever like really had the general like come around, but they always played that kind of like. But even us on other sides of the aisle have mutual respect for killing. Whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like it's that sort of like. That kind of like false compromise kind of thing where it's like, at least we can all agree on one thing. A dead crowd's a good crowd. Yeah. And you go like, I don't know. I don't think they ever did it where it's like, do you know what? I regret being a Confederate.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think they ever went that way with the general.
Yeah.
It was more just that he was like, I don't agree with you, but I respect you.
Sure.
Sort of thing. Yeah. And he'd like give him hints about the future and stuff. He's like, I'm a ghost. I know everything.
Oh, okay. And still has the same beliefs.
The arc of history is long, and we were right.
It's like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Like, what?
Grandpa, I think you're seeing the future wrong.
Yeah. No. Trust me. You'll see.
Jesus Christ.
They all.
Yeah. Eventually, we'll have a great president. The greatest president,
Oh,
some might
no.
say.
They made it like we used to do again. All right.
I don't like that that's the second time we've invoked that this episode.
Oh, don't worry. There'll be more.
Yeah.
From Cactuar David, who asks, have rebellions happened in Kondak, or are people there generally happy with Black Adam's leadership?
Yeah, so Kondak is like the fictional country from which Black Adam hails.
And he takes over through rebellion.
And he takes it over. I mean, it's a pretty easy coup for
Sure,
Black
yeah,
Adam
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like, what's like an army gonna do to Black
Sure,
Adam,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't. I mean, no country and no people are a monolith. There are people that don't like Black Adam,
Yeah.
or people that like Black Adam but don't like the way he rules, or things like
Sure.
that. But I would say, generally speaking, we're more or less shown that the people of Kondak would rather have Black Adam there, a champion who, even in his brutal actions, is, quote, looking out for them. Mm-hmm. He does things in their name.
Yeah.
That's better than the regime that came before that was exploiting them. You know, like Black Adam is a very stiff anti-slavery kind of like.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's
mean?
a good
Like,
thing to be.
like, but Black Adam is, I don't know what like a good analogy is for it. Like he's a threat. He's dangerous. Being any kind of dictator is not good. But he aims his rage outward,
Sure.
out of Kondak. If it's in Kondak, it's only at the people oppressing other Kandaki like citizens.
Here's the thing I'm going to say that's probably not great, but
Okay.
hold on.
Is this the uncle character still?
All I gotta say, was the leader of like Colombia or Cuba, sorry, like that?
Castro?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to tell because, like, I don't know how you would gauge the authenticity of some of those things.
Because like he was sort of like
I mean, what I mean by that is I don't know how I would gauge it. I haven't kept up on like Cuban media.
sure, no, I know, but wasn't he
I don't
propped
know.
up a bit like a savior, but was also a dictator?
I mean,
like,
there's certainly elements
Yeah.
of that, but you know, it's hard to tell where the way that they present it in the comics is not that it's
he's
like
a dictator.
It's not that it's like a brainwashed education thing where they're like Kim Jong-il invented golf.
Yeah,
like they're
yeah,
not like
yeah,
it's not a thing like that where they're like that's how he made 1 + 1 = 3.
Sure, yeah.
It's just that they are like, we love Black Adam. He freed us.
Yeah,
like they present it at least as
Sure.
more of like it's like their actual point of view.
Yeah.
I don't know in the real world how to parse some of
Fair,
that without
yeah.
like digesting a ton of media I haven't looked at.
Fair.
But more or less, I would say the people of Kondak like Black Adam. Have there been rebellions there? Yes. I mean, like you said, like Black Adam had to take over.
Yeah.
But also like military rule, you know, like coups, things like that. Like they set Kondak up to have kind of lost its way without a benevolent protector. Frankly, even back in time, Aktun, the king or pharaoh or whatever of Kondak, was like a despot or whatever that like had to be fought against.
Yeah.
So there's like a history of sort of some
Upheavals and-
tumultuous upheaval and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it sort of ends with Black Adam more or less. Although then that rage, like I said, it pushes outwards. Like he levels Bialia, like a neighboring country. And
Sure.
like there's like a lot of bad stuff that happens. But yeah, they tend on the whole to present Kondak as pro Black Adam. That doesn't mean every single person, but as a group, yeah, more or less. Yeah.
All right, with that, let's leave Threads and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
First question comes
That
from...
was so good.
All right.
How is this good?
What?
This energy of yours. This hate that you bring.
I just mean fucking like. I know you're cool.
We
but
did good.
we did a normal amount.
Unless we didn't, but I told.
There he is.
Yeah, that's my cool character.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, hell yeah. And another thing.
Self-conscious cool guy. A really good podcast guest.
It's good to listen to, right?
Yeah, weird to be starting our like lucrative ad campaign in Epuary, our least thought out month.
Whoa, hold on.
It's least thought out. I just want to be clear. Themeless.
Yeah.
Not no theme.
That feels pretty like prescriptive to me.
No. It's not thought out. You're not listening.
Yeah, but it's not no theme.
No. I feel like we're saying the same thing. It's not No Theme November.
It's an episode.
It's Epuary.
Yeah.
Because it's an episode.
Yeah. Also,
Do you see what's happening here?
fucking who tried to fucking rename Epuary on the Discord?
Oh, really? Someone did?
Yeah, some
Into
bullshit name. I can't even remember, but it was bullshit.
It's definitely Epuary.
Yeah. Fucking,
I'll find you.
you come for the crown.
Yeah, whoever said that, I'll find you. I will find you.
First question comes from Delgado Andrew, who asks, back in the day, the Justice Society was eager to fight the Axis, albeit in a world war. What would it take for them or the League to go full-on freedom fighter here or abroad on Earth in the modern day?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. So the Justice Society did go to war, sort of retconned as like the All-Star Squadron. Yeah. I'm about to say a bunch of things that are half thought out.
That's never happened on this podcast.
But it's a thought that has occurred to me before. When we talk about like the quote, the greatest generation, and we talk about World War II and
sure,
the mobilization, and you just like think of like all the people that signed up and on objective rubrics fighting evil
Americans. Sorry, what?
No, fighting like evil.
Yeah, the awful American regime
Easy, but like
taking our place across Europe.
oh no, this is how we learn.
Look, my family's German and Austrian. Now we're the other ones.
Yeah, they only watch the first half of war movies. But like you think of that like mass mobilization, that like will to fight, and all those kind of like slightly romantic like honor, like even though war is hell, and it was like there's this sort of idea of duty and all these kind of things that are slightly romantic in a way. And then you think of how much we've sort of deconstructed all of these like structures, the idea of like nationhood or your pride in your nation, or, of a leader or of a whatever. Like so many things have happened since that I have a really hard time imagining what would have to happen to drive that in me now. And I think I am a person that sort of does get suckered in by the romance of some things sometimes. Like I'm a relative critical thinker, but like there's a part of me that's like, if something like the music swells and it's like do the right thing, I'd be like, maybe I'll.
I mean, look, you and I have both talked about like,
but
like pre sort of like the like 9/11 era, like that type of thing. Like,
but even then, like we always point at Nixon, right, as like the crumbling faith in our leaders or in our institutions or things like that. But you're right. I mean, even pre 9/11, it was probably easier to be like, even post 9/11.
This is what I mean. But like the initial phases of 9/11, I think caught us all in this. Like,
and I was young and dumb then, but there was this sort of sense of like, no, we should stand together. Like it kind of felt like the right thing, but like.
I have so little faith.
The further we go through history, the more we deconstruct those things, and the more we realize that the things we're fighting for are like even
misinformed.
Even if
It feels
there
black
are
and white.
bad people and stuff like that. But then you go like, but is this fixing it? Like, even if we took some of those more objective things about like bad and good or whatever, which is
but it's
not
also like,
objective.
do you side with Russia or America? And it's like, I don't know if either is a side to choose. Like,
Well, and I think that's the other thing too. It's like, well, what are we fighting for? And it can't be nations.
yeah. I mean, truly, yeah.
It has to be for
Concepts.
ideals or concepts. But how do you do that within the structure of
Nations,
war?
yeah. Like,
And that, I think those are like, that's where those things are hard to reconcile. And that's why I think it's hard to imagine a thing that would actually, like, what would the Justice League go to war for other than like Darkseid's invading? But just like geopolitically on Earth, I can't think of it. The closest we get has to be something fake, like fight Atlantis.
sure.
Which is sort of, that's the Throne of Atlantis thing a little bit. But like, even that is kind of like, they're not really like going to war. They're not launching an offensive. They're just like, we got to stop civilians from getting, like, they're doing Justice League things. Protect people, not instigate further violence.
But also, I think that's the problem, is that like the deeper you get into, when it's not an imaginary threat that has no ethical systems in place, like anything internal, it feels like, well, violence shouldn't be the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like, we should kill anybody who wants to like hurt trans kids. But it's like, is that the thing that you kill someone for? Like, and it's like it gets complicated because you're like, that's not the way we solve this problem long term. Like,
so much of the work of comics has been trying to find like more creative ways to save the day. Like, obviously Superman still punches. He's got to punch.
Yeah.
But like a strong Superman story is about him like seeing a compassionate solution where others would not. And it's hard to do that in war.
Yeah.
It's tricky, and obviously I'm not being super articulate about it, but the thing that I think that's why it almost only works with the Justice Society is because they're also chronologically in that era.
Yeah.
They were in that wartime when the thoughts and the feelings of nationhood and things like that were different. And so it kind of, they're almost in this little encased in amber thing of like, superheroes went to war, and they were going to war to stop Hitler from using the spear of destiny, like magic shit,
But it's also when we didn't have access to like modern medium, the actual atrocities of war. And so what was coming back to society at that time was more of like, oh, our boys are out there fighting. But it's like, now we actually can see it day to day. We see a fucking like,
we know how often
we see a green screen with like a fucking explosion. We knew about that's like a grade school or something. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, you can't be like, and it's for a good cause anymore. Like,
it's true.
So you can't bring comics into it.
You can't unknow things.
Yeah.
And so I
think the answer is none. You can't.
I don't think you could do that type of thing with modern superheroes and have it not be blatant propaganda.
Yeah. I think we know too much.
If we were like, it's Batman in Kabul, and
I
don't know, man.
Like, but that's what I mean. Even the closest example to that right now is like Russia. Yeah. And it's like, that's still fucking Russian people being forced to like, who are told of rhetoric that they don't actually
If you're going to mobilize the Justice League, first of all, they wouldn't mobilize at the behest of any government.
No.
But it would be that this war is just devastating civilians. We're going in to take care of them.
Yeah.
You guys shell the shit out of each other, but we're taking care of, like, that's the only...
We're taking Putin down. Yeah.
Well, no, not even that necessarily. Like, I think even the Justice League would be like, we really shouldn't get in the business of that.
People.
We should just save people.
Sure.
We got to find new homes.
But I think that's the closest you're going to get. Yeah.
But that's the closest you could get. You can't have them actually fight the war.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next question from Alfred Izzati, who asks, does the DC universe have a Saw Gerrera type rebel who blurs the line between revolution and anarchy, other than the obvious anarchy character?
Right. So Saw Gerrera is from Star Wars. He's a character from the Clone Wars and from Rebels that then Forrest Whitaker played in live action in Rogue One. Yeah. But you remember that guy in Rogue One? That's Saw Gerrera. Yeah. He's a rebel too extreme for the rebels. Because he's like, oh no, all the systems are bad. Burn it all down kind of thing. I mean, DC absolutely has burn it all down type characters. They're not always in a like particularly altruistic sort of way.
Because like Joker is anarchy, but not revolution.
Totally, and certainly not for the good of anything.
No.
You could make maybe a slight argument for like the Brotherhood of Dada,
Sure,
from Doom Patrol. I mean, they're more absurd, obviously, because they're Dadaists.
Yeah.
But there is a sort of just like, no, be free, let go, release your shackles, sort of piece to them.
Does Red Hood count?
I don't think Red Hood's that like much of an anarchist.
Because I thought he was just like, we should just fucking kill them instead of like...
Yeah, but that's not anarchy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, if anything, he just wants a more severe system.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
that's more brutalism than anything, yeah.
There absolutely are. But I know this is not what the question asked, but like, anarchy kind of is the good example of it, like Anarchy the character. So Anarchy spelled with a K. So his name is Lonnie Machin, and Anarchy is this like very bright, very talented kid who's like a kind of literal anarchist in the philosophical sense.
Sure.
He's very like anti-military and anti kind of nation. He wants more of a collectivist kind of,
which isn't anarchy, but yeah.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but wants something that is not like these rigid systems of bureaucracy and oligarchical power and things like that.
Yeah.
Anarchy's a relatively good example of that. Anarchy had their own series even for a bit.
Sure.
A pretty interesting character, all things considered.
V for Vendetta, like...
I mean, V for Vendetta is like also, though, like a heavy influence on Anarchy. Like, look at Anarchy's costume.
I mean,
Clearly Guy Fawkes inspired. Like we're riffing on all the same imagery and iconography and stuff like that there. Yeah, what's a character that is a rebel but just wants to burn it all down?
But for good.
But for good.
Which is the complicated element to that.
Yeah, it's tricky. I'm sure someone would say something. I'd be like, oh, yeah, them. Hard to just come up with on the spot, but they're definitely out there. Even just on an individual level, like arc to arc. Like the weird line that a lot of these comics have to toe is like Superman's got to be progressive, but he also has to sort of preserve.
Yeah. The American values.
Or not even American values, but just like some semblance of like the structure of a society.
Sure, yeah.
There's always this weird line of like, yes, you're fundamentally right, but like you can't.
Yeah.
It's like always the line, which is sort of weird. But yeah, I mean, you'd find a ton of examples if you went like dug through comics.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jaffe. Next question comes from the real Josh Gill.
Sexy Gill.
Who asks, who is most likely to lead the Doc scored revolution?
No, I'm going to throw out an oldie, I'm going to throw out an oldie but a goodie. Chan is too much part of the system. It's Bruno, baby.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Actually, no.
Butt Fart Butt got pretty close.
Butt got close. The whole Butt scored.
Yeah, I mean,
Butt started a religion.
What's the difference?
It wasn't like a religious revolution.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, look, I'll admit it. I fell in.
Yeah. Admittedly, the Butt scored took on a life of its own. He was.
We really lost control there.
He was vaguely our bug main for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Butt Fart Butt is a strong contender, actually. Relatively benevolent, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't think he wants for much. He just wants you to, bow beneath his...
taint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I guess Stump would try to push a revolution and would lose favor.
His speech is constantly interrupted by the clinking of ice cubes.
It's just like click, click, this day. Click, 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 click.
I'm so sorry, Tom.
We'll see you in Toronto.
I think Gil's charismatic enough to pull it off.
Yeah, but he would.
But that would be like a military dictatorship. He would it would be by force.
I know, but
by force of push-ups and chin-ups.
Fucking love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
it's true. He'd be our Black Adam.
Yeah, if anything, we would just be like, no, he's in charge now. Yeah,
we agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, we willingly give over our power.
Yeah. It wouldn't really be a coup.
No. It'd be cute.
I was going to be like, it's cool.
Oh, fuck.
The cutest of Borg. I'm
such a fucking idiot.
No, man, you had some good stuff on the other podcast.
Don't patronize me.
Yeah, go to Dr. DC.
Patronize our Patreon.
Next question from Keegan Steedman, who asks, who are the Revolutionaries? This is the first time I am hearing of the team, but they look like an interesting lineup.
Yeah, so the Revolutionaries is a team that was introduced in Tom Taylor's run on Suicide Squad. And basically, like, they're attacking some ships and stuff. The Suicide Squad is sent to stop them. The Revolutionaries end up captured and have the bombs put in their necks, and they're sort of recruited into the Suicide Squad. But you learn it was kind of their plan. They're actually a group that's made up of people who have been like hurt or have vendettas against the Suicide Squad. They're like the collateral damage of Suicide Squad missions. So it's this superpowered team. Osita is the leader. There's the Aerie. There's Thylacine. There's a bunch of these like characters that have like. There's a character called Jug who has like super speed but in short bursts. There's like all these kind of versions of characters like that. Wink is a teleporter.
It's more sprint than a jog. But... Sorry.
Fair.
I wasn't like a steady pace, slightly faster than water.
No, not like this.
Sorry.
But the Revolutionaries were basically introduced as like the fallout of the Suicide Squad's missions has led them to be like, no, we've got to stop this group. We have to stop like governments intervening and like that's their kind of revolutionary sort of mission or whatever, was to take down the person that was at the head of the Suicide Squad at the time. That wasn't Waller. Yeah, they haven't shown up a ton since. A couple of them have, but not many. Really cool idea for a team though, and like some colorful characters, some interesting powers, and some good representation and stuff. Like I'd love to see more of the Revolutionaries in future stuff.
Yeah, it sounds rad.
They're cool, but relatively new. Like within the last 5 years, 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from Robbie's Just This Guy, who asks, would Uncle Sam be supporting the you-know-what-a side in Palestine?
So, two versions of this question. Version one is just, would America in DC be supporting this? The answer is probably. Especially the version of America that we're seeing right now in Tom King's Wonder Woman run.
Really?
Where there has secretly been a monarch the entire time in the United States.
Whoa.
There's a king of the United States of America.
Weird.
Like behind the scenes that controls the president.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's I kind of dig it.
Okay.
I'm interested in what that run is exploring. But if you're talking about the character Uncle Sam, I think there's lots of comic evidence for what I'm about to say, but it's a tough thing to actually pin down, which is that Uncle Sam is not just powered by American patriotism in any form. He's powered by the belief in the dream of America, the ideal form of America, freedom, blah, blah, blah. When America gets corrupted and things like that, that's not that. Now, you could make the argument, it was like, if the belief of America veers, does Uncle Sam change with that? And I think that's an interesting narrative pathway. But it's also interesting that he just only exists as the ideal form, and the less people that believe in the ideal form, the weaker he is.
This is an elf Santa Claus situation.
Kind of.
Yeah.
You know, like, so
it's like a tulpa.
Totally. But like, to me, I think it's because we're talking in DC so much about myths and stuff like that and aspiration. It would be better if it's not that he's not guided by what America believes, but rather his power level is how much they believe in his America.
Sure.
The dream of America, the freedom, the, self-determination, the hard work, like those things that are like now lies that are fed, but like in a perfect world, in a more fair world, things that would be kind of aspirational. I like that version of Uncle Sam, where it's just that he gets weaker as people don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Because then you could inspire people to do that and you'd see his strength grow. I like that better than like seeing like, I'm Uncle Sam now, I love oil, or like whatever the fuck, just because people believe that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's as interesting narratively. So by that logic, I would say that my preferred version of Uncle Sam, no, he would absolutely not support just the blanket, like, allowing a genocide to take place in Palestine. Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. I mean, there's a fundamental hypocrisy to the idea of Uncle Sam, because you go like, how does Uncle Sam feel about like the Native Americans?
Sure.
Like,
because he didn't do a great job before.
It's hard to reconcile the dream of America with the realities.
The actions of America,
like, and that's true of Canada, and it's true of so many, I'm just using America because Uncle Sam's the character we're talking about, but it's true of all of us,
yes.
But if we're taking for granted, like, the pure intention or the idealistic idea of a character like Uncle Sam, then you would absolutely have to stand up for freedom for the oppressed.
Yes.
If we believe what America's origin story is, which is like, we've been oppressed. They wanted us to pay $3 more for tea or like whatever. So we killed them. Which, fundamentally, like, what is the origin story of America? It's like, we're paying too much for tea. Is, not to be too reductive about it.
Yeah, you hear that, Galen Weston?
Yeah, it's happening. Yeah, but you know what I mean. If we're going to take for granted the idea that like if America's origin comes from self-determination and things like that, then Uncle Sam by definition has to stand up for Native Americans, for Palestinians, for pick a.
The American way.
But it's got to be a better American way.
Yeah.
It can't just be like intervention and oligarchy. It's got to be like, no, like it's about these ideals. That's the only way you can make a character like that even appear on a page in 2024. You know what I mean? Like,
that don't go with my closed-minded ideals.
It's just, I mean, it's pretty fraught, I think, to try to write a character like Uncle Sam in 2024. But I think that's the only way you could do it. You just got to go whole hog into the idea that at one point, somewhere, somehow, that dream is tangible and real and achievable.
Yeah.
You just got to aim at it, and you got to dodge the hypocrisies of it, and you just got to make it true, even if it was never.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only way to do it.
I mean, that's all we can ever do. You're never going to hit that, right? But it's like all you can ever do is try to like create pillars to stand by and go for them as often as you can.
Totally. Yes. Yeah.
Well, on that note, let's take a quick break.
Today's episode is sponsored by Factor. Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals make eating better every day easy. Wherever tomorrow takes you, be ready with pre-prepared, chef-crafted, and dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. You'll have over 35 different options a week to choose from, including keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, and more. And there's even more to enjoy with over 55 nutrition-packed add-ons that help make your weekly meal planning even more delicious. Fuel up fast with Factor's restaurant-quality 2-minute meals that are ready to heat and eat wherever you are. Discover a wide variety of easy options for the entire day, like breakfast, midday bites, and more. We've done the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. Factor is the perfect solution if you're looking for fast, upscale options done easily. You can also get as much or as little as you need by choosing 6 to 18 meals per week. Plus, you can pause or reschedule your deliveries anytime. No prep, no mess meals. Factor meals are 100% ready to heat and eat, so there's no prepping, cooking, or cleanup needed. Get started today and have a feel-good week of meals ready to go. Head to factormeals.com/DrDC50 and use code DrDC50 to get 50% off. That's code DrDC50 at factormeals.com/DrDC50 to get 50% off. And now, back to the show.
And we're back.
Hey,
And on that note,
that was good.
yeah, let's leave Instagram and head on over to Reddit.
Where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
First question, oh God, comes from You Shall Not Pass.
Oh, constipated Gandalf.
That's right. What do you think?
I am Gandalf the Brown.
The hard and brown.
Gandalf the Hard.
Don't worry, I become Gandalf the Loose pretty quick.
Oh, no.
What do you think of Bane and his League of Shadows having a French Revolution vibe during the events of The Dark Knight Rises? Even a number of scenes and lines from the movie pay reference to A Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah, what do you think of the sort of, like, the...
I'm going to take down the banks.
Yeah, because, I mean, the ultimate thing is that it's...
Self-serving, it's not for, like,
and
the
it's not
good.
really for that. It's all a
It's a
cover.
ruse.
It's a ruse.
Yeah.
But what do you, like, until that's revealed, what did you think of that idea of, like...
I mean, the problem is
I will bring justice.
The problem is you can't say I'm going to bring justice while killing people.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I mean, that's a non-starter. I think there's a difference between, like, handcuffing yourself in front of, like, City Hall and then just, like, blowing up a stadium.
However, if we're referencing the French Revolution, it's sort of perfect because the French Revolution famously didn't know when to stop.
Sure.
You know, like the French Revolution went from we're freeing ourselves from the shackles of monarchy to the terror really quickly.
Sure.
Like there was no, they couldn't decide when to stop. There was always a new enemy, more people to guillotine.
Yeah,
more, like if you study any French history at all, or anything about the Revolution, you learn that like that's the number one pitfall of the French Revolution is they couldn't stop it.
Sure. Yeah.
Until Napoleon.
Okay.
Like more or less.
It was like, oh, you think you'd be murdery? We can be.
And
murdery.
Napoleon was like, "I'll stop it. I'm the emperor."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you know, like those kind of yeah. I like the imagery of it. Like his coat, Bane's coat in that is supposed to be based on some sort of like 17th century, like Swedish
sure
kind of thing. But like invoking the 17th, 18th century does kind of put you in the headspace of these sort of growing rebellious revolutionary movements and things like that. And I like the idea that he like as a villain, I like the idea of weaponizing the lie of the Dent Act in that movie, right? Yeah, like the whole point is that they blame Two-Face's murders on Batman to keep Dent's record clean, and they use that to make this draconian kind of we can imprison you for any reason sort of law.
Yeah.
And they clean up Gotham just by arresting everybody.
Yeah.
And then Bane's like, no. And you kind of like, even for villainous, you'd be like, he's right.
Yeah.
You know, we're supposed to have like actual due process and things like that. But what's interesting is that French Revolution thing comes around because he uses all those talking points. But one of the first things he does? He sets up that kangaroo court. With Scarecrow as the judge or whatever, right? There's always a witch hunt. There's always a new, like, I do think there's interesting imagery and like reflecting on that idea of false revolution or people co-opting revolution. Now,
Sure.
in the case of that movie, Bane is both the one instigating and co-opting.
Sure. I mean, you could say
It's not like it started as a worthwhile revolution and then Bane, but he takes the worthwhile points and then co-opts them to his to his ends. But there is an interesting parallel, and I like there's something neat in there. I would never want to say like we should be just anti-revolution entirely, but there is an interesting sort of cautionary thing about like the manner in which you revolt or rebel kind of dictates
but also
the foundation of your new society.
But here's the thing. It's also when an outside force comes to help you revolutionize.
Yes.
Like, and I think like America loves to do
The
that.
Dark Knight Rises, though, has weird politics, though, anyway, because the rebellion at the end is 1,000 cops.
Sure.
Right? Like,
yeah,
Batman's
yeah.
army to take down Bane is just
yeah.
cops.
Sure, yeah.
It's like,
not
cops
great.
rise from the sewer.
Yeah, it's not a
Like,
Robin's situation.
It's not like Gothamites come out with like sticks and kettles and beat back Bane's guys. It's like, no, the cops are back. Yay!
Yeah.
Like The Dark Knight Rises has weird politics anyway, so it gets a little bit murky, but like as a general idea, I kind of like some of where it was going, but it ends up taking on this like weird fascist kind of thing that Batman is not. You know, like Batman in the comics is not. But that movie really blurs it has a lot of mixed metaphors, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. Next question from Luzar, who asks, when the crime syndicate takes over in Forever Evil, the rogues stand up and fight against them in the spin-off Rogues Rebellion. What's your idea for a similar rebellion against a takeover event or story?
I mean, this is the thing that we've said about the rogues before, is that they got a code. It's a thing that we like about them.
Yeah.
So when the crime syndicate takes over and the Justice League is considered dead, they're missing. They're really trapped in the Firestorm Matrix. But the crime syndicate takes over and they're like, all the villains of the world, you work for us now. Kill anyone that gets in our way. And the rogues are like, we're not just like gonna wipe out Central City.
Yeah.
And they're like, you won't what? And they're like,
This is our city.
This is our like. And I fucking love the rogues so much for that shit. They're the perfect characters for that kind of thing. It's like, no, we're bad, not evil.
Yeah.
You know, which was the whole thing with Forever Evil, which was like,
there's a difference.
you know, like Lex, Black Adam, Black Manta, like all these characters come together to fight the crime syndicate. They form the Injustice League.
Sure, yeah.
But it's like the whole, even the marketing of Forever Evil was like bad versus evil. Like that was their distinction or whatever, right? There's something kind of interesting about that. What's, to the point of this question though, what's maybe other than the rogues, what's a setup where you'd like to see a kind of like, no, like we're standing our ground, like maybe a different set of villains, like what's their line in the sand where they end up kind of doing the right thing, sort of.
I mean, it would be interesting to see you've seen versions of like the Lanterns against the Guardians and stuff like that.
Sure.
It would be interesting to see something where some of the universe goes against the Lanterns, because it's like, look, you still are cops, and like this is still like you saying that space cops is better, that like the thick green space line.
Yeah, I mean, it's even weirder right now because the Oa wanted to join the United Planets, and they're like, we're only going to let the Green Lanterns police the United Planets if the United Planets controls the Green Lanterns.
Sure.
So there's all this like political maneuvering, and it's like technically they're right.
Yeah.
But also something feels weird. Like it feels like that argument that's in Captain America: Civil War, where he goes like, we need oversight, and he goes like, but what if they want us somewhere where we shouldn't be, or they don't let us go somewhere we should be?
Yeah.
And you kind of go like, you find yourself in this weird position where it's like, I didn't like the Guardians in charge, but I don't like anyone in charge actually of the Green Lanterns.
Well,
but then you go like, am I pro like rogue paramilitary force? You go like, well, I don't know, that's slightly weird, but But like there is this element of like, because it's political, because the United Planets is built on compromise between all these different beliefs and cultures and things like that. You go, so what are you letting the Green Lanterns do? Are they your army? Because that's not true either, because the United Planets has this other kind of like force that they've got too. So it's a very weird
and so
time
I think
right now for Green Lanterns.
That's an interesting thing and the people rising
they've also they blockaded or pulled out of Sector 2814.
Sure.
The Lanterns aren't allowed to go there.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I mean, it sounds like a perfect time to start addressing that issue and like putting the Lanterns in a situation where the people against the Lanterns, and then you have to like which Lanterns are going to stay with the system and which are going to fight against it. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's... oh, man. Yeah, it's a tricky question. You see a version of it sometimes in Gotham with a character like Penguin or Two-Face or something where it's like, no, these interlopers don't understand our city.
Yeah.
Even with this Orgum thing that's going on in Gotham Nocturne right now, there was a little bit of a thing like that with Two-Face. But you get that sometimes in Gotham. Not often, but every once in a while. Mm-hmm. I mean, this isn't bad versus evil, it's evil versus evil. But like Batman and the Joker teamed up against the Batman Who Laughs. But that was maybe less about doing the right thing and more that like Joker was like, this thing's an abomination.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Like, yeah, it's tricky.
All right, with that, let's leave Reddit and head over to the Doc Scored. So cool.
I wanna be on the Doc Scored.
You can always tell where you are in your life.
I wanna be on the Doc Scored, sharing memes a mile away.
Nice.
It's from the producers.
Yeah. You're in a real fucking musical theater moment.
I am right now, yeah.
I can,
I was fucking belting Rent yesterday before you got here.
525.
No, I don't really like that song, actually. I don't like Seasons of Love. I was singing Out Tonight. I was singing Out Tonight. It's like Mimi's big fun song in Act 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah. First question comes from Big McLargehuge.
Nice.
Who asks,
hell yeah.
Superman is not traditionally a rebellious character. The War World saga was one of my favorite stories because it put Superman in this type of role. What other character do you think would work well in a Spartacus-style story?
Yeah, I mean, Superman on War World, that was the whole thing. He was like, I'm not fucking leaving until this planet is free.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't care if my powers are gone. I don't care if my friends get captured. Like, I mean, he cares, but it's like, I'm not leaving until Mongol is done.
Yeah.
And that World saga is so goddamn good because it doesn't just boil down to Superman beating up people in a gladiator pit.
Which is rad.
They take a gladiator story and then they invert it. It's like he actually doesn't inspire them by fighting. Like in a gladiator story, you'd be like, oh my God, he did it.
Yeah.
Like every time he fights, it'd be like, oh, the crowd loves him when he fights. But in this one, it's like, that's actually not what happens in War World. That he inspires them by like just not giving up, by not submitting. It's not really about the fight. It's about his
determination
in that, which is only a slight deviation from the gladiator Spartacus thing.
Yeah.
But I think a big enough deviation that is worth mentioning. Yeah, he doesn't like win respect by fighting. It's a very Superman story, and it's kind of amazing. And the whole planet is like, yeah, we'll do it. We're doing it. Even though they have no concept of it. That's the big thing is they're like, but if we do it, we won't get more more links for our chains. Mm-hmm. Like they've just been told that their only worth is the iron of their chains. How bonded they are to Mongol.
Jesus.
Like it's such a good fucking arc. I really love the War World saga. It's great. And cool to see Superman in that position. And also, Jesus, that outfit.
Which one?
His gladiator outfit, the like brown leather thing, he's bare chest, he's got the S shield
and
stuff.
Yeah.
Woo! That's the one where they make the joke like in a later comic where like John is looking for board games in the house. He's like, why is Dad's Gladiator thing here? And Lois is like, anyway.
Yes, yeah.
Which I fucking love.
Yeah.
Can I say, just like on this brief tangent, I love that in the 2020s, we're finally past the point of thinking Clark is just some like milquetoast Midwest guy. It's like, no, he married Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Dude gets freaky.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Let him have fun. Let Superman be a three-dimensional person.
Absolutely.
He's a nice man that loves his weird sex.
Yeah, good people doesn't constitute sexless people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Your parents bone.
Exactly. Anyway, where was I going with this? Yeah, what's a character that you would want to see in a sort of, not exactly the same, but you know, like in that kind of position of like having to kind of fight or like lead a rebellion, inspire a thing through their, in that sort of gladiator-y kind of way.
Captain Cold?
Okay, in what context?
Like he has to like get his way out of like the Phantom Zone or something.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
this is the most like manatee idea balls kind of thing you've pitched in a while.
The Phantom Zone is Gladiator.
Yeah. James Woods.
Yeah. No, I like the idea that. Hey, babe.
Yeah, a really good James Woods impression. Is that your new character, guy who's great at James Woods?
Yeah. Hey, babe.
Yeah, nice.
No, I like the idea that maybe like he gets sent there for whatever reason, that it's all these fucking like Kryptonians who are like, you're gonna fucking deal with us, and he has to like fight his way out. That's fun.
Yeah. Okay.
I just love Captain Cold.
All right. Fair. Yeah, interesting. I think I think like Black Lightning is a good character for something like that. Like someone who's
just want to fucking put him in chains, don't you, hey?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Jesus. What I'm saying is Black Lightning is a character with powers who can fight, but his real thing is he's intellectual. Sure. He's compassionate. He's someone that could bring that extra layer to inspiring others, especially if it was inspiring like youth. He's an educator. He's a teacher. He's like if there was some sort of like weird like Fagin like child ring whatever, and they had Black Lightning captured, like see him have a positive influence on like kids or youth or things like that.
Yeah.
Like that would be a cool version of that. Fuck you for insinuating that I how dare you? I mean, what the fuck?
I was trying to put the black man down. I get you.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I'm on the same page. Nice, man.
Wait. Oh, no, that uncle's back.
That's right.
I hate this character.
Yeah. Or do you?
Unless he like brings in money. Yeah. I don't like this character either.
Oh, no. Guy's willing to sell his morals for listeners.
Yeah, self-conscious cool guy. They're the same.
It's always my favorite thing with Doughboys.
Will it make you like me?
I do like that the Doughboys are always like, oh no. We we have to fight to not get to go in that direction. Like that's the far more like the tantalizing easiness.
Not to just turn all right.
Yeah. All right, next question from Multi Sanchez.
We should make a totally separate Patreon that is just all right baiting.
Just to see.
We make so much money, and we just funnel that money into our more lefty, we do
that. We do that character where it's like you're never really sure.
Mr. Banjo. We do our version of Mr. Banjo,
the Mr. Banjo podcast.
Everybody should use the bathrooms they're supposed to use.
Yeah,
but what do you
mean by that?
Yeah, are you pro or and? You know what?
A man's a man and a woman's a woman.
I don't know.
Whatever you decide is the one you are. It's like, wait, hold on, Mr.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that came from Mr. Banjo selling like Nazi secrets or like selling secrets to the Nazis or whatever. Yeah.
That's right.
Fucking Mr. Banjo.
All lives matter, right?
It's like, well,
I mean, but not in this context.
technically true, but the way you're saying it is
all lives matter, right?
Mr. Banjo.
Let's start a race war because I stand for all peoples.
Oh no!
Wait, hold on.
I'm not even sure that that's ambiguous anymore, Mr. Banjo.
I'm gonna kill the right.
Oh no! That's very funny.
Multi Sanchez asks, "Does Uncle Sam become stronger during a rebellion such as fighting the Nazis on Earth X? Like, would the patriotic spirit of his fellow freedom fighters give him more power than just people exercising their right to vote?"
Yeah, it's an interesting question, right? Like,
does more patriotism mean more power?
And is it the fight for the dream
Yeah.
that is the thing, or is it just living it?
Yeah.
Is he at his most powerful if they win?
Yeah.
If it happens? Or does he go like, my reason for existence is gone? Like,
Great Lakes away.
Great Lakes away.
Maybe he's going to come back soon.
Oh, God, I wish. But you know what I mean? Like, you sort of start to wonder, like, what is the purpose of these national identity spirits? Because Uncle Sam's not the only one. There's like Marianne in France and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So you go, is their purpose to, in a time of crisis, galvanize people around the idea they should fight for? And once it's fought for and won, do they disappear? Do they hibernate, or like, you know what I mean? Like, wait until they're needed again? Or are they more powerful than ever when the ideal is won? It's an interesting question. You can make the argument either way in terms of the comics. Like, Uncle Sam still shows up and is around after the war, but is that because the dream didn't come true and you had to still fight for it? I think that's a very reasonable reading of why Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters are still around.
Yeah.
Or is it, you know what I mean? I think it raises an interesting point. And so if it's just belief in the dream, maybe the idea is that that's an active thing. You know, if you're already living it, maybe you get a little complacent about it. Even if things aren't going wrong or sideways or corrupt or whatever, you sort of take it for granted. It's less active. It's a passive belief in a thing that you don't have to think about because it's going fine for you.
It's not living actively in your heart.
But if you have to, like, visualize it, fight for it,
and
aim at it, you know, like that.
And
that's
also
have
it in spite of something, I think.
Yeah. I do think that is, even just as an idea, more power. I think it makes an idea more potent. I'm tempted to say something like wartime fighting the Nazis. You would have a more powerful Uncle Sam than the world where the American dream comes true.
Yeah, because if it's threatened, then you're choosing to have it means it's like stronger in your heart. Right?
It's something that's like actually galvanized, not just taken for granted.
Yeah, because you're making active decisions based on that hope, right?
And like the existentialist in me is like actions, not intentions. Right? And so an intention, I think, can be passive.
Yeah.
An action is a choice. Yeah, a thing you have to reaffirm, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the thing even people say about like relationships and that? It's like you can't just like wake up and be like, well, we're in a relationship. A relationship is like constantly choosing to work on the thing, to be with that person, to be a good partner, to grow together. Like, it's active. It's a thing you participate in, not a thing that just like it's there.
Well, you know? I always love that phrase. The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Meaningless without actions to support them. Yeah. A thing that is supported elsewhere in DC, where the Blue Lanterns are relatively weak on their own, the Hope Lanterns. Mm-hmm. But they are supercharged, and Green Lanterns are supercharged when they are in proximity to each other. You need the will to act along with the hope for something
Better. Yeah.
One is will on its own, relatively powerful. Hope on its own, nothing. But together, they're the best version of each of them.
Yeah.
So I think there's enough in the mythology of DC to support the idea that, Uncle Sam is probably stronger in wartime than peacetime.
Yeah. All right, next question from only just fart butt, who asks, if you just could pick up a character to usurp Vril Dox as the leader of Rebels, who would you choose and why?
So Vril Dox is Brainiac 2. He's the clone son of the original Brainiac. And he led this team called Rebels, Rebels. S. I don't remember what it stood for, if it stood for anything, or if they were just like aesthetic dots. Yeah. A bunch of different characters have been on that team. Animal Man, Starfire, a bunch. Captain Comet. Who would I want to take over the team? The Rebels team was also formed because something happened with Vril Dox's version of Legion, which was him trying to start a version of the Legion of Superheroes, like in more modern times as opposed to the 31st century. Because I think he was spurred on by like Quirrell Dox, like Brainiac 5 or something like that. So Vril Dox started Legion, and then Legion got taken over by like a malevolent force or something like that. And he started Rebels to fight against it. I think a character that should take his place, Adam Strange. I think Adam Strange has been on the team, but I think Adam Strange would be like a good one. I like his like cosmic spaceman thing.
Yeah.
This is very Earth centric, but it's DC. It'd be cool to have. He's the hero of Rand, but what does that mean in a world where these planets are trying to work together more, or things like that? Like, it'd be neat to have a man of two worlds, basically.
Sure,
leading this team that's like fighting kind of for the unity and things like that. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, I like
Adam
that.
Strange for me, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have one for this. Or...
No, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Next question from Bear, who asks, basic, but what is the biggest and or your favorite rebellion?
Do you have one? I have a couple.
Maybe the Mr. Miracle sort of like fight.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, one of mine is a Tom King thing, and I like it because it's pretty morally ambiguous. Mm-hmm. You see why they fight, and the fight is correct, but you also see how the fight can compromise you, or the desire to end the war or end the fight. You maybe make sloppier choices. It's hard to remain good.
Sure.
And that's the Omega Men.
Oh, okay.
The Omega Men are a group of rebels in the Vega system that are fighting against the Citadel, which is this like evil, despotic group. They're the ones that like invade Tamaran and take Starfire and Blackfire and torture them and stuff like that. And
wow.
The Vega sector is where Okara is. It's where the Spider Guild is. It's but yeah, the Omega Men is a group made up of different members of planets from the Vega system. Primus, Callista, Tigor, bunch of characters. But that specifically, that Tom King Omega Men is like about the moral compromise of trying to beat this unstoppable enemy. Like, do you lose your way? Oh. Do you forget what you're fighting for? Do you become the thing you're fighting? Like, I mean, I would argue it's like Tom King on like, it's the upper end of Tom King as opposed to, Danger Street or Heroes of Crisis or something like that. I really, really like Omega Men. I think it's an interesting kind of deconstruction of rebellion and revolution and things like that. It's very cool. Because what it doesn't do is fully both sides it. You're still like, no, the Omega Men are right. But it does say it's not as clean and easy as just fighting.
Sure.
There's the way you fight. There's the manner in which you like. There's something interesting in that book. My other one I was going to throw out there is Scartaris. So Deimos. So Scartaris is like the world at the center of the earth. It's like the Hollow Earth kind of world in DC. And Deimos is this like sorcerer who keeps taking over and blah, blah, blah. And Travis Morgan, an Air Force pilot who goes through a portal in like the Arctic and ends up in Scartaris. He becomes the warlord of Scartaris. And he ends up being like a king and a leader, and he has a family there and all this kind of stuff. But he is constantly fighting against Deimos's tyranny. You know, and like it's maybe not a rebellion in the sense of like he's the king of his own kingdom. They're fighting like a rival kingdom, but it's also like Deimos would take over Scartaris. He's like the last line of defense for like the free folk of this sort of fantasy realm or whatever. And I fucking love that shit. And it's like swords and guns and dinosaurs and magic.
Yeah.
Like it's everything. And you're like, fuck yeah, Scartaris fucking rocks. And you go like, we need a warlord book. Like a proper warlord book, not Danger Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last question from Cosmic DM Classic, who asks, I don't think anyone has asked about the Daxamites in Legion. I think the Doc wants to talk about Legion of Superheroes more. So, Doc, please talk about that time Daxamites tried to take over the galaxy or whatever.
Oh, boy. So Daxam... this is like a kind of cousin planet of Krypton. This is where Mon-El comes from. These are the
Cousin
Kryptonian
planet.
I'm stuck in the solar system. I'm stuck in the gravity well step planet. Jesus. It's okay. We're third cousin planets.
Barely doesn't even count.
Gross.
What didn't I say one time that it's fine, like something like they're cousins or something? I think we were talking about step versus cousins, and I'm like, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
And
you
you're
did
like,
say that.
yo,
It's
it is.
absolutely not the same thing. I promise you, it's not the same thing. Yeah, it's true. You have said that.
Yeah.
Here's a little fun diversion. My dad's gotten real back into genealogy lately.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Has been going
Me
through
too.
all these records and stuff like that. And you know, my family on his side are French Canadian and have been over here for like 400 years.
Wow.
Like early settlers.
Wow. Like fucking fur traders and shit.
Yeah, totally. But there's definitely like Voyageur and like Coeur du Bois and stuff like that.
Oh, shit. Okay.
But you go like, the French had that whole like kind of like, you know, you got to be Catholic, you got to be French, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So not only are there like probably a bunch of records missing because there's undoubtedly some indigenous
Lines in there, yeah.
in there, but also it's like my dad keeps uncovering like actual records of like cousins or second cousins marrying each other, and it's like to the point where like in a couple of lines it like does this a couple of times. Like,
Oh, no.
and I was like, woof. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's like we're only like a couple more of those incidences away from like real big jaws.
I'm just saying, you did say French Canadian.
Yes. Yeah.
Say no more.
Yeah. It's Canadian but with tongue.
Yeah. And your cousin.
It's Canadian but you tongue your cousin.
I mean,
Oh God.
the big difference between French and French Canadian.
So Daxam.
Okay.
So this is where Mon-El comes from. So these are like the Kryptonian cousins that are deathly allergic to lead.
Oh, yes.
They're like very dangerous as a species because they're
Besides
Kryptonian.
pencils.
Well, yes, but also like they're intensely xenophobic. They have a real kind of hatred and distrust of all outsiders. And the only thing that kind of keeps them in check is that they're deathly allergic to lead.
Which is kind of everywhere.
And only Mon-El for a while gets the lead cure. And I'm pretty sure this thing that Kaz is talking about is basically like the Daxamites are cured of their lead thing, or temporarily or whatever, and they manage to leave the planet. They get out from under a red sun into a like, and it's bad because they're aggressive and xenophobic, and they're like not
also powerful, right?
And very powerful, and like not a great culture. I mean, even Krypton, not a great culture.
Kind of like
but
Klingons a bit, like.
I mean, I guess a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, a tangent, but here's the thing that we don't think about very often. Federation admits all of these different worlds, and there's all of these different, like, there's Bolians, and there's Andorians, and there's whatever. The Klingon Empire is large, and Klingons come from Kronos.
Yeah.
So what are the other alien species in the Klingon Empire?
Oh, that's interesting.
Are they all like worker slave class? We never see any of them on any Klingon ships. It's only Klingons.
Oh, that's
on
interesting.
Klingon
But you also
ships.
never see any other.
But like
in
the
any
Klingon
world.
Empire is big. There must be hundreds of worlds in the Klingon Empire.
Theoretically, there should be other species unless they wipe them all out.
But what are they, or where are they?
Yeah.
Same with the Romulan.
Or did they just take
the
over?
Romulan Star Empire? Also,
Yeah.
massive. Something to think about,
You just blew this thing wide open.
baby.
Holy shit. Daxamites.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just very, very dangerous people to have out in the galaxy.
How did they get stopped?
I think if I'm remembering correctly, they had some like. It's probably that they like had their immunity to lead removed again. I'm probably misremembering that, but I feel like anytime it's Daxamites, it's about the lead thing.
It's so fucked up though. It reminds me of the in the game in Mass Effect. There's like a species of like basically Klingon-y kind of like fucking terror providing like alien species that are basically like one, they like are all they want to do is fight in war,
Right.
But also they multiply really quickly.
Oh, no.
And so in the game they like the scientist like comes up with like a thing to basically cut their numbers down so they can't like reproduce.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's like a whole fucked up like
That's
thing in the game.
So fucked.
And it's like you have the ability to fix it at one point, or do you let it stay?
And when you've played, have you fixed it? Like, do you like what are the repercussions of?
So if you fix it, they basically like
Does it change their ways, or do you like unleash hell on the galaxy?
it basically unleashes hell in the galaxy. You don't actually see the repercussions, but yes.
Yeah.
But then also if you don't, like the guy who's like of that species on your team leaves
Right.
permanently because he's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's kind of what like what you do with Daxamites. It's like, yeah, theoretically you're doing the right thing because you're stopping them from terror, but you're also like it's hurting this species and
it's bad.
It's a fucked up thing.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
It's typically lead.
I'm probably misremembering, but usually with Daxamites, it's about the lead thing.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the last question, and we will be back after this quick break. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. This time of the year can be tough. It's cold and dark outside, and you feel like you're all peopled out. How do you set boundaries and give yourself the alone time you need? Most people don't have an endless social battery. Therapy can help you listen to your body and give yourself the time to recharge. In the past few years, I have made choices that have improved every part of my life, and I honestly wouldn't have been able to do any of it without therapy. Through therapy, I have gained confidence and learned to draw important boundaries. If you want to make things better or just a bit easier, or you want somebody to talk to, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, so it's easier to fit into any schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. And you can even switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find your social sweet spot with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/DrDC today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DRDC. And we're back so that we can say farewell. We'd love to hear from your residents.
That's right, baby.
Do you want to send a question in for next week's episode?
Next week's episode, we're going to talk about controversies.
Oh.
This could be in-universe. It could be publication controversies. It could be stuff about controversial stories.
Maybe you got some controversial ideas that you want to get out
yeah,
there.
do you have like something you want to ask, like drunk uncle? Send all that in.
Cautiously cool guy.
Yeah, self-conscious cool guy.
Do you have any strong opinions? Self-conscious cool guy?
Oh, I think there's a two-state solution.
Yeah. I think there's people wrong on both sides.
Oh God. Unless that's not fine to say.
Yeah. Then I think everybody's great, unless you have a very strong opinion one way or another.
I will say, I think these characters should just stay in Epuary. They could be relegated to Epuary. Once a year, we can reckon with them.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. That's my feeling.
Yeah, Epuary, also known as February, which is also
Epuary.
Yeah. Not Black History Month. Oh no, this parachute's a backpack. So send in questions for that episode in our various social media platforms.
We're Dr. DC Podcast, wherever you can find us.
Make sure that you give us a 5-star review and we read that on a future episode.
That's right.
Also, once you subscribe to our Patreon, you get even more content.
Yeah, patreon.com/DrDC. There's a $1, $5, $7 level. They all give you access to the Doc Squad, our awesome Discord fan community. At the $5 level, you get the double dose, our weekly bonus episode. And at the highest level, there are some bonus series you can enjoy. There's Toretto Talks, a Fast and Furious rewatch.
And other problematic series that we address.
Bonding Time, James Bond rewatch, and starting in March,
the Cosby Watchathon.
Yeah, Jello Pudding Pod is what I would call
it. Fuck!
If I were doing
God! Now it feels like have to.
Starting in...
Only in Epuary.
Starting in March, there'll be a new series at that Golden Age level. It's called Cerebros. It's an X-Men film rewatch podcast.
Unless that becomes problematic and we'll stop.
Oh, I'm sure we'll find a way. Brian Singer, I'm sure we can, yeah.
A podcast that there's definitely no chance of there being problematic things in it is our other one, Ghostfacers.
Ghostfacers is a Supernatural rewatch. We're going through every single episode of the CW Supernatural. We are just into season 9 right now.
Holy shit.
We talk about real world monster lore, behind the scenes stuff about the show. It's a grand old time, and we're in the second half of Supernatural now.
Yeah, we can't say we're in the first half.
No.
Holy shit.
I know.
Well, if you want to say hello to us in person, we are going to be at the Toronto Comic-Con.
Yes, not Vancouver.
No.
Don't fly to Vancouver.
Well, because this is the time of year we would have been in Vancouver.
Yeah. No, we're going to be at Toronto Comic-Con. That's March 15th to 17th.
That's right, baby. I don't have the schedule yet, but just keep on our socials and stuff. We'll post
We're
them.
doing live shows. We're going to be there. We're going to be hanging out at the booth. We're going to be having a good time.
Yeah. Or we'll be sitting cross-legged eating sushi.
Hey, con sushi... That's our thing.
Yeah, it hits different.
Yeah, that con sushi hits different. That's like slang from 4 years ago. There's no way that people still say that.
Yeah, we really got rizzed up.
Yeah, of sush.
That's it for this week. Say goodbye.
Adios.
Ciao.
Superheroes. They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.